See, the way you use, I see in my house.
I'm telling you, 3 days in a row.
We're gonna call, February 17th Transportation Committee, meeting to order. Roll call, let it be known, Madam Chairman, I think, Mr. Aaron Lawler is not here yet. He may show up a little late. We're gonna start off with Mr. Randy Kluart's gonna lead us in prayer, followed by the pledge.
In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Lord, we bless you for this day. Lord, we thank you for taking us through most of the harsh winters. Let us take us the rest of the way. As always, I ask that everyone look around to the elderly next to them, see what they can do for them. Lord, we're coming into the spring season. Please keep us clear of the hurricane season. Lord, last but not least, we ask that you pray for all the law enforcement and all the military folks that are protecting us and putting their lives on the line every day. We ask this in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Kluart.
Mr. Lawler's about to walk in.
Madam Secretary, Mr. Aaron's here.
Okay.
Put him there.
Can we fix our 10 while we're at this too?
Sure. And Roddy and
Our 10's a parking lot.
public comment section. Anybody want to speak on the agenda item, please sign in with Ms. Liz, and you have 3 minutes to speak on that agenda item. We'll move on to number 4, committee chairman report. I had I guess a couple of things. First thing was a discussion of crack sealing. And I wanted to bring this out because I guess I've been on board 16 years, and we've resurfaced Church Point Road 3 times. And right after this last resurfacing, we already putting crack seal on a brand new road, and there's a lot of crack seals, not just a little bit. At some areas, it's like every 10 feet across the road, the whole width of the road. And I'm just wondering if we can hold anybody accountable, you know, that does this work for us. I don't know if Ms. Tess or Ms. Joy or either, you know. And that's why I want to bring it up to, you know, I know we had some issues, and the road was supposed to be built, you know, by specs, but, you know, it's not even a year old, and we're having a lot of issues with it.
Correct. I mean, I agree. That road still has, you know, it shows signs, you know, with the cracks right off the bat. Right. And, you know, the one thing, whenever you are, you know, talking about it from a contractor's perspective, we give them a set of plans. It's got a typical section. It tells them how thick to cut the soil cement, how much cement to put in it. You know, we basically tell them how they are to build that road. I think it'd be tough. We would have to prove that they did poor workmanship, like they didn't cut it properly, they didn't blend it properly. But you know, they followed the specs as we gave to them. You know, I guess if you fault anybody, it's us not putting together a set of plans that would go even deeper than what we affected, which was just the top 12 inches of that surface. That area, I'm with you. I'm born and raised in the same area. I've seen that road. I've never seen that little piece of road, you know, as you get closer to Black Bayou, in good shape for any more than a year's time.
Right. And I guess
I recommended that crack sealing that went on, and also to leave it as is.
Okay.
Whenever it fails later on, and I realize that it's going to fail later on. It may be 4 or 5 years from now. We may have to address it again. I would recommend putting it on another contract. It would have to be the same thing. We have to dictate to the contractor. We're not going to have the contractor do the exploration for us. We're going to do that. But we need to go deeper than just that 1 foot that we kind of gave them a standard. This is the way you fix all 30-something roads that's in that package.
Correct.
that piece of roadway needed special attention. So we needed to do something special in that area. If we do address that, whenever we do address that road 4 or 5 years down the road, we're going to have to go more than 1 foot down. It's an old slough area. There's swamp on both sides of the roadway. It's not unlike, some roads in the area.
Right.
But
And
that
it's just
one,
so heavily traveled, too.
heavy traffic, and it's in a swamp area. And the road goes through, whenever it goes through those low parts, we need to isolate those parts and say, you're not going to go 1 foot. We want you to go 2 feet down and try to bridge over that mess.
And don't we follow DOTD standards?
We do as far as how to cut saw cement. We
Okay.
follow DOTD standards. We did have our testing lab core down after the roadway showed those cracks. And those tests did bear out that we really have some soft stuff beneath it that we did not
Foundation is still
affect
not
at all.
stiff enough.
We didn't touch.
Okay. All right, that's all I had on that. One other thing, I brought this up before, and it is a sore subject. Speed cushions on Tiggy DePlessis. We're constantly repairing these things. Right now, they're broke. We have several that's busted right now on it. I know it's a touchy situation, but I don't know what the new administration feels, but we are spending a lot of money on repairing these speed cushions. And once that part of the speed cushion is off, don't you have spikes sticking up right there? Are they held down with spikes?
I'm not familiar
Ricky,
with it. I don't know.
They held down with spikes, so what happens, they still going over, they still speeding, they still jumping them at 35 or whatever, that's not gonna slow them down. And, even the neighbors have already said that, but something to look at. I'd like to know how much we're spending to repair these, because it's getting, they're expensive. I know it took a grant money to actually get the money to put them in. And,
I got you.
I get calls regular, you got another one broke, you got another one, but we keep turning it in, It's a constant maintenance on these speed cushions. Ken
got
probably been here the last 4 years, and he knows how many times we've repaired them. Now, I don't know what parish president's, opinion is on them, but,
Yes. Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I think what we can do is kind of look at the cost of what it takes to continue repairing those particular, speed cushions and get back with you.
and a liability, because
Yeah.
once this removed, you sitting at a spike, you're gonna have some tire issues, and you're gonna have could have some.
Right. We can get back with you on that with those costs and liability. And I know that, I think that the process is that whenever there were, speed cushions or anything desired, it comes to this committee
Right.
for recommendations to either put them in or to remove. So we'll come back with those numbers and give you enough so you
I'd
can
just like an
look into
update
it.
on how much money we're spending, basically.
we can do that.
I know there's gonna be it was turmoil last time we brought it up, as far as had some opposition on it, a lot of opposition, taking them out, so it's half and half now.
Okay.
And they there, so we gotta deal with them, so
Yes.
one way or another.
Yes.
Okay.
Will do.
Appreciate it. We'll move on to number 5, Road Department Monthly Reports for January. Mr. Joey Turo.
There's been a total of 28.38 tons of recyclable material collected at the DPW site, which is a total of 7 pickups of that one bin that's out there. That's for the month of January. There's been 372 work orders, 8,111 feet of ditches were cleaned, 2,966 feet of culverts were blown out, cleaned out, and that 8,300, that's really a total of the 8,100 and an additional 200 that was pipes that were I think replaced. So that's not two separate numbers. The 8,300 really is the accumulation of ditches that were cleaned. We're not in grass cutting season, so there hadn't been any grass cutting, but it should start again in March. There were no lot violations. They did have reports of 2 litter violations. And both were on private property.
All right.
That's it.
Ms. Terry, any questions, Mr. Turo?
Joey, I had a gentleman ask me the other day about there's something, and you can probably tell me exactly what this is called, but there's when they tear up this asphalt and they haul it off and they put it behind the DPW
The
building.
reclaim, yeah.
Right?
Okay. So my understanding was that there was the desire of the contractor on the road package to purchase $100,000 worth of this product as he was doing the road package now.
Yes.
And he made a phone call, or a representative of his made a phone call, got somebody at DPW, I think at the barn, and they said, no, bring it here. And, my concern is, I don't know much about this, but I'm looking back there and there's a stack of stuff as big as all outdoors back there right now.
Right.
And $100,000 is a lot of money. So if somebody wants to buy $100,000 worth of that stuff, and we don't need it, we've already got so much of it sitting back there, we don't know I'm sure we have some use for it, but it's obviously not being used right this minute. Mm-hmm. Is there some reason why that decision couldn't be made on a higher level than just somebody that answered the phone to decide that we don't want to take $100,000 from somebody?
No, I was the one that made that decision. Okay. And I did make that decision based on what I consider the market value for that material. That may have been a big sum of money, but the market value of that stuff is at least I didn't hear the $100,000 figure. I was just, because we go by cubic yard. Uh-huh. And I don't want to say the dollar amount, but the dollar amount that was presented to me, it's not up to market value.
Okay. Well, that makes perfect sense.
In the future, we do want to, like the way this contract was set up was that we got 100% of the wrap, I call it, but the recycled material coming off of the roadway. We get 100% of it. In the future, we're going to get, I'm going to recommend we put a contract together to get less of it, because we do get a better price on our asphalt if we let the contractor have, which is similar to what DOTD does. It's 50-50, sometimes it's 70-30, and we base it on how much we need in our stockpile. And I agree with you that we do have a lot in our stockpile now, and we've not had that before this past contract. However, I'm not just going to give it away because I've got a bunch of it. So I was not pleased with the unit price that they had to offer. If they upped the unit price, I would certainly consider it.
Makes perfect sense to me.
Okay.
And I didn't know they talked to you. I don't think they knew they talked to you.
Right. They didn't have
Ms. Terry, something else?
Yeah, no, I'm tickled to death to know they had talked to you.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. One thing I want to talk about, I know we talked about the recyclable material and the issue we're having some issues sometimes with the recyclable being out at DPW.
I've seen that.
Because one thing that happens, if it's contaminated, then the material is not recyclable. And I know that we have citizens in the parish and residents in the parish that really want to recycle, but you can't recycle if it's contaminated with anything. And sometimes when there's a bin and it's not manned or looked at, people will drop off any and everything. So we're in the process of looking at how we better can control that particular facility. Either has to be manned during the recyclable times, and then the facility is locked, in other times, to make sure that no one could come in and just dump things that could contaminate the material you're trying to recycle. So I just wanted to let you know that we're looking into that to make sure that when we say recyclable tons, that we're not losing some because stuff has been contaminated.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I've passed almost at the end of the weekend, it's already overflowing, and I think it's supposed to be just on Saturday, that they don't, and it's full to the brim, and you can tell it's not just recycled stuff, it's household garbage. They're using it as a garbage dump, dumpster. Yeah. Mr. Joseph, anything for Mr. Joy? Dempsey?
One thing, Joe, on the lot violations, this is something that me and Councilman Johnson, we shared the store on Highway 44. They have removed all the gas tanks, and I think just about all the places cleaned up now. I really want to thank Mr. Don Heisel and quite a few other ones. They really helped us push this thing through, and like I said, the gas tanks, they were becoming a serious issue, and they removed. So that was a lot of hard work. Thank you.
Yes, I have a couple questions, mainly bearing out of being new. The ditches, the 8,300 linear feet that was cleaned out, is that standard per month, or does that vary greatly?
I'm like you, I'm kind of new myself. I'm not sure if that is standard or not. Yeah, I would say maybe this is possibly a little above standard because in the wintertime, you're not cutting grass, so the guys do have a little more time to dig ditches than they do in the summer. So, and I'm just guessing. I'm just guessing that typically that's kind of how it goes.
I could add to that, and I've talked to all your supervisors because I know we were a little bit backlogged this time of the year. Yes, we don't cut grass, but yes, it's too wet to go off-site and dump
Correct.
what you dig. So that's been an issue this winter as far as the amount of ditches we could dig because there's quite a few ponds that they use to go fill, and they can't get in them right now being the
That's
winter
right.
that we had with the rain. So that delays a lot of your digging on your roadside ditches.
Correct, and you know, it's even
So I don't
more
know-
so the off-road ditches. Those are
Right.
really, you know, you really got to
Really
have good
hampers
weather
them.
for that. So
That's
that's
correct.
that's another big factor.
Right.
Do you know how many linear feet of ditches we have in the parish as a whole, or is that some information that you could get to us later on?
Yeah, it's just the amount of lane miles, I guess, that we have. But if you, I would imagine it may be a task to get all the off-road ditches. And, you know, another factor is the ones that we have access to, because there's a lot of ditches that we want to dig as far as off-road ditches that go into all the bayous and canals that we have in the parish that, for one reason or another, we don't have an easement for it, or the property owner just won't let us get on there, you know. So to get an accurate number, I think, of those off-road, going to be tough to do, but we could certainly give you the linear miles of roadway we have, and every road that we have has a ditch next to it. So
I think the off-road drainage could probably provide that because I think they have that on computer on most of their ditches. So we could ask that question to Bill Rue.
I had asked that question to Moose several times, and he has that.
Okay, great.
Because he told me that, and then you got to double it because there's a ditch on both sides.
Yes. And the reason I'm asking is, I mean, it seems to be an issue with drainage, and if we don't have access to it, it's going to create more drainage problems. But I'd like to find a way that we can identify where we have access, who's not giving us access, and what we can do to get the access. Because if we don't fix this, we will continue to have drainage problems. So I think one step in this is finding out exactly where our ditches are, where we have access, and what's the holdup. So that's a goal as we move forward.
Mr. Dawson?
And Chairman Lambert, we talked about this a little bit about even some of the manpower of what it takes to maybe to keep up with all of the digging. A lot of times because there's also culvert setting, there's a lot of work that takes some of our crews that would normally be assigned strictly for cleaning out and digging the ditches, that they're assigned to other things. We did an assessment with Mr. Pierce last year and basically looked like we at least need one more crew that can kind of keep on top of all that's involved. So you'll be hearing more about that, but you and I talked about that last year about making sure that we can maintain the crews.
Yeah, one of the things, Aaron, last year I think we selected not to, we used to set all the culverts on state highways. Parish did that. They pulled a permit from the state, but the parish went out and set the culverts because they have more manpower. But it got to the point where we're spending so much time there, we're taking away from our parish roads.
Yeah.
So we had to select not to do that anymore. So that's one thing that's kind of relieving us a little bit because we spent a lot of time, you know, a lot of state highways here in the parish, and we were setting culverts on state highways a lot. So that's one thing we tried to eliminate, and administration came to us recommending, and we did, you know, move forward with that. Same thing as digging ditches on state highways. There's occasionally we will do it if it's a drainage issue that we're tying into an off-road ditch, but most of the time we stay away from cleaning the state highway ditches also. We do cut that grass, a certain amount of miles of grass cutting on the state highways.
Very good. Thank you.
Just a little heads up. I think Mr. Dempsey had something else.
Just one more, thanks. The tree removal at Henderson Bayou, I know the school bus drivers are gonna definitely thank you, Joey, but, you know, let Benny and all the crew know that you know, that was really a safety hazard there, and the tree removal, that's really gonna help, get those buses out on, Henderson Bayou Road. Thank you.
Gotcha. I'll tell him.
I think Ms. Terry has one.
Yeah, I'm so excited, and I forgot to mention this earlier. The lights are on 73 in the interstate. It is lit up like a Christmas tree.
Right.
And thank you, Joey. Thank you, everybody who had anything to do with getting that done. Thank you for sending in the, the authorization to pay the electric bill. I mean, we are so excited in my district to have those lights on, and it really does mean a lot to my constituents, particularly those who use that intersection at night. It's just well lit, and we feel so much more safe, and we thank you very much. However, I do have friends who live on Roussel Road who would really like to have somebody pay for curtains on their windows, because now they can't sleep at night, the lights are so bright.
Anybody have anything else for John? We'll move on to number 6, the road project status report, Ms. Casey.
We are wrapping up the 2013 road project. Fixed by 1st of March. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry about that. Did y'all hear me? Okay.
I think.
The 2015 road maintenance project, RJ Daigle has 3 to 4 crews working on a daily basis, depending on weather. Right now, they're laying new culverts on Gresset, Evans, and Jeanette. They're performing milling and soil cement operations on Irwin Villar Jr. and Isaac Villar, and they're finishing up the asphalt operations on Bayou Terrace. And they have finished the asphalt on Highland, Dutchtown Villas, and Canterbury, Miss Terry, so they should be happy with that.
They are, thank you.
The 2015 road maintenance package is on schedule to be finished by September of this year. Right now, we have a couple of projects outside of those. The Parish wide horizontal curve sign upgrade. So those are the flashing signs with the beacons that they're putting up right now. We have purchased the signs, but we just don't have the equipment to dig the post holes and put them up just yet. So that's going to be, y'all will be seeing a lot more of those soon. St. Landry Edenborn, we have received the final plans that they have been approved. Right now, our legal department is working on acquiring all the right-of-way necessary, but we will be out to bid by March of this year, so that will be in construction really soon. The airline highway street name signs that we have with Leadership Ascension, our crews are steadily putting up the new signs. As they have downtime from cutting grass and cleaning ditches and things like that, they'll go put up a few signs here and there. So all the intersections have been done with the exception of about 10 of them. Ashland to St. Landry connector, we do have a roadway alignment laid out. Unfortunately, when we laid it out in an area of land that we didn't actually have ownership rights to. So we have to ask BASF to donate a corridor in order to proceed with this design. If they're okay with it, then we'll move forward with the geotech and getting all the right permits and things of that nature. So as soon as we hear back from them, that will be moving forward. The 2016 road maintenance, road maintenance project, we have finalized the road list for this year. Our survey crews do have it in their queue to start obtaining a full survey on every road. Once I have this, at the same time, I'll have a geotech go out and do borings of the road so we know how much soil cement to put down, make sure we do need to use soil cement and which ones will need it. Once we have that, basically all we'll do is take our survey and the information that the geotech gives us, and we'll be able to proceed with the design fairly quickly. So that should be out to construction probably by fall of this year as well. The next on the list are the state projects that are in construction right now. The Highway 42 sewer improvement. All the sewer on the west end of 42 is pretty much finished. However, they are having to build the east part of 42. There's a couple of lines of sewer that they need to rebore so that because their manhole elevations were off, so that's what they're doing at this point. We still expect them to be finished within a couple of months, but that's where they are at this point. We just started a pavement marking upgrade on I-10. It goes from East Baton Rouge through Ascension, so we'll be sharing the cost of that project with East Baton Rouge, but you can expect to see the new pavement markings here, within the next couple of months or so. LA 73 widening, it's finally finished. They have reconfigured airlines so that both left turns from 73 onto airline are open. So now what you have is a double left turn and then the option to go right off of 73 to airline right there. So it allows for optimal traffic flow in that area. Let's see, LA 22 from 44 to 70, they have just started that one. They put out all their temporary traffic controls and signs. 939 and 940, that one just started as well. So you'll be seeing a little bit of work going on in that area. And the rest are ones that are in design right now. All of these they are scheduled to go out to bid this fiscal year. However, a couple of them are kind of in the review stage, and we're depending on how the review goes, we're not positive that they'll go out by the end of the year. But LA 431 and Gold Place turn lane, that one will definitely go out. So y'all can expect to see that really soon this year as well. I also have a list of the projects we're working on right now. I listed the 2016 maintenance package, the 42 widening, Edenborn St. Landry, like I said, that one is ready to go. We just need to resolve all the right-of-way issues. And finally, the 431 Gold Place.
Okay. Mr. Dawson?
Yes, I'll just give you a couple of updates. First of all, as Stacy said, I've just talked to legal, okay, today. On Tuesday, I finally got the letter that said that the Corps permitted, the path that we needed, gave all the permits for the St. Landry Edenborn connector. So that just happened Tuesday. Okay, which was Mardi Gras Day. I think I got the letter in. Secondly, speaking with legal, all of the right-of-way issues seem to have been resolved. It looks like everybody's in agreement with what we're doing. So we are moving forward with actually getting everything out for bid because all of the design inspections are already completed. So we just had to wait until we got the Corps permit, before we move forward. So once we got that, we are moving forward.
Great.
The next thing is the Ashland to St. Landry. Ms. Stacy said is absolutely correct, but I've already spoken with Mr. Ura of BASF, and because of the nature of that Ashland to St. Landry road, that's going to take people off of 30 and get them in another direction to 44 and possibly to the interstate. They are very interested in working with us and providing that area that we need to do that road. So, awesome. That is going very, very well. And one other thing, the flashing signs and everything, I think that's what was the safety grant that we actually got that. And we're going to be still talking to DOTD about getting more safety grants to do special safety projects in Ascension Parish.
Thank you, Mr. Dawson. Ms. Terry, anything on any of the projects?
No, I do want to mention, though, I had spoken to Joey before about 70 Seabro Road and the issues, and I just got an email back from Chris Ewing. We were on the issue of the light there, Joey, and he says to me that BASF and Shell have both started bringing in construction crews last week, And so he is thinking perhaps that is why I've seen this last few days, this increase on Cebro, even though the light extension remains, the added 8 seconds has not been taken away. So I don't know if you know, and I'm asking him by email right as we speak, can we talk to Shell and BASF and say, look, you know, please advise those folks who are working that they need to, 73 is running fine. Stay on 73 and don't get off onto the bluff and try to cut through on Cebro. It's going to back you up, and it's going to black up the local traffic there. I mean, is this the kind of communication we have, or even is it unreasonable to ask? I mean,
No, I think anything, that'll help everybody's, traffic drive in the mornings is a great thing. I mean, we can make a contact with Shell, and you said Shell and
according to his email that I just received in the last few moments, Shell and BASF both started bringing in construction crews last week. He's going to send some folks down, a crew down, he's telling me, to take a look at that intersection and see what might be going on there. But, I mean, we know that it worked when they added the 8 seconds to that light. And then suddenly, in this last few days, it's been much more complicated. So that precludes that there's an accident on 73, 74 in that area that's redirected the traffic. And it makes sense that if Shell and BASF have these additional folks there, then maybe that's what's happening. So I was just wondering, if we can communicate, that would be wonderful.
We'll try to do that. We'll make contact with them and see if they can, encourage their workers to stay on 73 as opposed to making that as a cut through.
Right, that would be wonderful. I mean, and I know all they can do is encourage, but if they could just encourage, that would be much appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah, BASF has one of their largest turnarounds. It's their complete shutdown, so they got a lot of people there.
Yeah, that's
right
probably
now.
what's happening.
And then Shell's fixing to crank off there, so some more traffic.
Yep. No question.
No question, Mr. Jones? Mr. Lambert, MC.
Thank you, Mr. Lyman. Just a couple of things. The 2014-2015 road striping project. Has it been lost? Can we find it? Or do we know anything about it?
That was a parish project?
It was a parish project we approved back in 2014 for for all the parish roads. I know we got some stuff here going with the state, but we've got some parish roads that we need to get striped out there bad. And if you want to start, Norwood Road is where we need to start.
Okay. I'm not aware of it, but we'll dig into it.
They went through,
Okay.
It was approved. We had, if you don't mind, just check into it, please, and
Sure.
we really need to get that going.
Will do.
The other thing I had, I know we had talked, Joe, on no left turn off of Highway 42 at Eagles Landing. This is causing some problems on Highway 42 that is backing traffic up as far back as as you can see.
I did look at that.
It's not designed to make left-hand turns off of Highway 42. It's designed to make right-hand turns. That's
correct.
it.
I know it's got an island that's built that way to where you're not supposed to do it, but
Yeah.
To get people to follow that,
Yeah, it's
it's going to
causing
be a nothing that I think the parish can do. I mean, it'll have to be a unit sitting there because it's just too inviting to take a left coming out of there because there's no other way to go to the west.
Right.
You have to, to ask somebody to take a right and make a turn around somewhere else and proceed that way. It's a lot. It's going to be tough to enforce.
It's causing some serious backup. And one other thing, the roundabout studies that we had started from Highway 42 all the way to Airline Highway. Any update? I didn't see anything.
We are going to concentrate our efforts on, we've got several in the works at different stages. The one that's further along that we think we can push the most is the one at Church Point and Roddy. So we're going to make a more concerted effort to get that one going. We think it's got the fewest hurdles to go over. So we're going to concentrate on Church Point and Radia, and I really hope to get something moving on that project.
Great, great. Really appreciate that. One other thing, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
Mr. Dawson, the Highway 42 sewer extension to Muddy Creek,
Yes.
we on schedule?
Yeah, in
And
fact,
Mr. Aaron
yes.
said, yeah, I should talk to you about it, but
Yeah.
I know they got a lot of stuff going.
Well, that one's got a contract that we've let out for bid. Grady Crawford has that contract, and they should be starting, I'm guessing, I think it's about a month or a month and a half, but that work is going to be going on at the same time that the main LA 42 roadway contractor is doing the sewer tie-in on the east side of LA 42. Both of those we're hoping to get, or it's planned, and it's contracted that way to where they're both going to be finished so that the road contract for 42 is not slowed down.
Great, great.
I mean, I think that is important because, I mean, you guys know the challenge we have at 73 and getting sewer in, and also I think it's even more of a challenge in dealing with 42. But what the parish did in getting that sewer in did not hold up the letting date of the project for the road work. So I think, and that was a lot of work to make sure that it was not anything lagging from the parish to hold up the project.
Appreciate
Good.
that. Thank you.
Mr. Lawler.
Very good, no question.
Good. Anybody else? No. Good. Appreciate it, Joey and Mr. Dawson. We'll move on to number 7, discussion of roads for acceptance into the parish maintenance, as followed by Mr. Ricky DeOrman. One at a time.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Got a motion
Second.
by Mr. Dempsey, second by Mrs. Casso. Any discussion? No objection? So move.
Motion.
Motion by Ms. Casso. Second by Mr. Lawler. Any discussion? No objection? So move.
Old Trail Drive, 2,465 feet.
Motion.
Had a motion by Mr. Joseph, second by Mr. Dempsey Lambert. Any discussion? No opposition? So move.
Old Shadow Avenue, 755 feet.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Dempsey Lambert, second by Mr. Oliver Joseph. Any objections? So move.
Old Tree Drive, 625 feet.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Oliver
Second.
Joseph, second by Ms. Terry Casso. Any opposition? So move.
The next one's Keystone of Galvez, 6 Filing. Tiger Eye Stone Avenue, 1,035 feet.
Motion.
Motion by Ms. Terry, second by Mr. Oliver. Any
Harbor.
opposition? No move. So move.
Harbor Stone Avenue, 840 feet.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Dempsey Lambert, second by Ms. Terry Casso. Any opposition? So move.
The total amount of miles we took in tonight is 1.20.
Mr. Aaron, you familiar with these roads? After a year of maintenance, we have to
Correct.
accept them into the system, being new.
All right, thank you.
All righty.
Motion to adjourn.
Got a motion adjourned by Ms. Terry, second by Mr. Dempsey Lambert. No objections? Meeting is adjourned.